Imagine being born at the start of a long journey, and with your first breath you are handed a heavy, invisible backpack. You are not told what is inside. You're not told where it came from. You're only told that it is now yours to carry. And so you do. You carry it through your childhood, through your adolescence, into every relationship, and every room you enter. Sometimes the weight is a dull, constant ache in your shoulders. Other times it is so heavy it brings you to your knees. You live with a sense of responsibility that feels ancient. A sadness that doesn't seem to have a source in your own life. An anxiety that feels like a family heirloom passed down through generations. This is the unspoken experience of carrying your family's emotional baggage. It is the invisible weight of their unprocessed grief, their unhealed traumas, their silent secrets, and their survival beliefs. If this feels like your story, you are not imagining it. You are not overly sensitive. You are not the problem. You are the one who was chosen or forced to be the carrier. And today, we are going to gently unpack that bag, not with blame, but with understanding. And we are going to talk about the sacred and revolutionary act of finally, lovingly setting it down. To understand this weight, we first have to understand that a family is more than just a collection of people. It is a living, breathing system. And in this system, emotions and trauma are like a river, flowing from one generation to the next. If a grandparent experiences a great unspoken grief, that sadness doesn't just disappear. It becomes a boulder in the river. It's the next generation. Your parents had to learn to flow around that boulder. And you, in turn, learned to flow around the distorted currents they created. You may be living a life shaped by boulders that were placed in the river long before you were ever born. So what is inside this invisible backpack you've been carrying? Sometimes it contains the unprocessed grief of your ancestors. The unspoken sorrow over a lost child, a lost homeland, a lost dream. This becomes a free-floating melancholy in the family, a sadness you feel but cannot explain. Sometimes it contains family secrets. It's a shame of an addiction, a bankruptcy, an affair. These secrets are never spoken of, but they live in the house like a ghost. They create a constant humming tension that you, as a child, learned to absorb. You became the keeper of a secret you were never even told. Sometimes the baggage is made of survival beliefs, passed down as wisdom. Don't trust anyone outside the family. Don't ever show your weakness. Don't be too happy, or something bad will happen. These were the brilliant strategies that helped your ancestors survive their world. But in your world, these strategies have become a cage, limiting your ability to trust, to be vulnerable, and to feel joy. And for many, the primary way this baggage is passed on is through emotional parentification. This is when the child, you, becomes the emotional caretaker for the parent. You became their confidant, their therapist, their cheerleader, their emotional regulator. You were handed their heavy adult baggage and told it was your job to manage it. You learned on a deep level that your role was to carry things for others. And in shouldering this weight, you were often assigned a specific role within the family system. Perhaps you were the hero or the caretaker. You had to be perfect, successful, and endlessly competent. Your success was meant to heal the family's pain, to redeem its failures. You carried the burden of the family's hopes and dreams. Or perhaps you were the scapegoat. You were the one who acted out the family's repressed anger and frustration. You became the problem child, the difficult one. You were unconsciously carrying all the badness in the system so that everyone else could feel good. Or perhaps you were the lost child. You learned that the family was already overwhelmed with baggage, so your strategy was to become invisible, to have no needs, to add no weight. You disappeared into the background, learning that your own feelings were a burden. Whichever role you played, the outcome is the same. You arrive in adulthood, an expert at carrying luggage that does not belong to you, and the cost is immense. It is a life colored by a chronic and misplaced sense of guilt and responsibility. You feel that you are responsible for everyone's happiness. Their bad moods are somehow your fault to fix. It is a profound difficulty with your own identity. You don't know who you are outside of your role as the caretaker. Your feelings are so entangled with the feelings of your family that you coo and tell where they end and you begin. It shows up in your relationship patterns. You find yourself drawn again and again to partners and friends who also need saving, managing, or fixing. You recreate the familiar dynamic of being the carrier. And most of all, it is a deep, physical, and emotional exhaustion. Carrying the weight of generations is a profoundly draining task. It can manifest as anxiety, depression, burnout, and chronic illness. It is the exhaustion of a soul that has never been allowed to travel light. So, the bravest journey you can ever take is the journey of setting the baggage down. This is not an act of blame. It is not an act of resentment. It is not about disowning your family. It is a quiet, powerful act of differentiation. It is the moment you lovingly say, "This is not mine to carry." It begins with simple acknowledgement. When you feel that familiar, ancient sadness, you can learn to say, this is my grandmother's grief. I can feel it, but it is not mine. When you feel that compulsive need to fix someone's problem, you can say, "This is the caretaker role I learned. It is not my job anymore." This simple act of naming creates a space. It creates a boundary. Next, you must allow yourself to grieve the childhood you didn't get to have. Grieve the loss of a carefree existence. Grieve the fact that you had to be a grown-up when your only job was to be a child. Honoring this grief is what allows you to finally let go of the role. And then, you begin the practice of setting loving boundaries. Boundaries are the ultimate act of differentiation. A boundary is the ability to say, "With love, I can be here for you, but I cannot carry your emotions for you. I can listen, but I cannot fix. I love you, but this is your journey, and this is mine." This is not an act of rejection. It is an act of profound respect for both yourself and for them. It allows them the dignity of carrying their own bags. And in doing this, you step into your most sacred role of all, the cycle breaker. You are the one in your family lineage who is brave enough to say, "This story of pain, of enmeshment, of unspoken grief, stops with me." You are not just healing yourself. You are healing the generations that came before you and the generations that will come after you. You are putting the boulder down so that the river can finally run clear. This is the most important work you will ever do. Your only baggage to carry is the luggage of your own life, your own dreams, your own joy. It is time to travel light. If this video was helpful for you, please show your support by clicking the like button. To continue this journey of healing, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. And if you know someone who is carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders, please share this video. It might be the permission they need to finally set it down. Thank you for watching. You're allowed to be free.